Hi, I'm Bob Dunsmore. I This will be the third segment of what I was hoping to be just one video, but the camera I'm using kept running out of battery power. I'm going to have to look into that. Maybe need some new camera batteries. This I hope to be the final in this series of what I consider to be the most important work of my life. It's so important, what we need to get done in order to save the planet and to create a regenerative future for the Earth, all life on Earth. And it's such a simple, elegant solution that has been promoted or discussed by the scientists that I've mentioned several times, John Berger. Where I got cut off when the battery died in my last video, I was talking about how trying to understand a mind like that of that very sick person who is now King of the United States of America, or self-declared anyway, that maybe, it goes back to the very early civilizations on Earth. It all started out as kingdoms. And the entire concept of democracy, a direct democracy, where all the citizens of a country could actually rule and vote on issues and bring issues to the floor of a parliament or a Congress, a Senate or whatever. It hasn't been possible until just recently. This is just something that our nonprofit, the Heart Mind Alliance, put together, like 1 and 1 is 2. And that was the invention of the blockchain, which is what encrypts and protects Bitcoin and other digital coin currencies. Combining a web page where you can go and vote on an issue with a blockchain, so that your vote is protected, where you can have a personal ledger and actually go in and see if your vote was counted, and more importantly, if it was counted correctly. And it's there forever. It's transparent. It can't be hacked. This is what we need here now, and that we can have. So direct democracy is possible, and we can demand that. The first question before the nation now at our website, https wethepeople.directvote.democracy. The first question that's out there is, would you prefer to live in a constitutional democracy? And if the majority of people voters in this country say yes, which I've always had that answered that way when I've asked that question, and I've been around the country. And if the majority were to say yes, then it's amazing. We don't ask permission. We simply declare the United States a constitutional democracy and get busy voting on issues that really matter to us directly. We will we will vote on solutions that we demand Congress come up with for climate change, for health care, for gun control, for whatever. After debate, open debate, which we can participate in, watch, between the right and the left and other perspectives, to actually solve the mandate of the people on any particular issue. And then once a solution is presented by the Congress people who have pledged allegiance to the the majority will of the people, or they can step aside, those people will be presenting those solutions that we then can vote on at that same website. We can vote up or down on the solutions presented if we don't think they really do respond to the majority will of the people. It's now possible. It's elegantly possible with a blockchain. Check out our website. You'll see what I mean. And so that's so different from a hierarchical regime being passed down for eons where the religious institutional framework for this was that God spoke only to man. Women had to submit to God's will presented through man. You know, times have changed. I never believed that, but that was the most convenient thing for men, to have that kind of control, and so that helps me to understand a little bit what's going on with the mind of that. I don't even like to say person, you know, because it's such an insult to persons to call our so-called president a person. It just doesn't work. He's an abomination. He's an abomination on the world stage. Look what he's doing, and it's all designed in a thoughtless manner, really, you know, to be pulling off those antics to justify, in Putin's mind, the end of the American empire, which Russia has been opposed to for so long, and to make Russia great again, to become that kind of an empire that we have had since time immemorial. It helped me to understand that a bit. But now, when we understand that man and women are created equal, that we have these inalienable rights, like having our Congress decide whether or not to hire and fire, whether or not to establish certain. You know, it's interesting that one of the things I wanted to share is that because of the Reaganomic sort of headspace that descended upon our country and ended history, as many Europeans call it, is the idea. Let me see if I can explain this. The idea that when corporations rule, that it is actually the best thing for the people, when in actuality it is the best thing for corporations. This is the best way to run a government as a corporation, which is what the United States is, as opposed to a constitutional democracy. And now, especially, we're hearing it needs to be run as a business. And so this CEO of our nation right now is running it as a business where the profit motive is primary. And so all the social agencies helping the American people with their needs, which is what government's supposed to do, by the way, is being run as a business, when indeed a true government of the people, by the people, and for the people can actually, it is designed to run in the red. It's designed to, like in a depression to be able to invest money into pumping up the economy and to providing work for people who can work, shelter. FDR wanted to bring about the Second Bill of Rights, which would guarantee that as we got older, you would have a place to stay. If you could work, you would get that work. You would be given that work. Amazing infrastructure was accomplished with the Works Progress Administration. And that wasn't run as a business, let me tell you. They weren't making a lot of money off of that work as a government. And so the government, when it's truly caring for the welfare of its people, it must run not as a business, but with people before profit. People placed before profit. That's our logo at the Heart-Mind Alliance. People before profit. In Spanish, we say el pueblo primero. And we redeemed the lives of thousands of our ancestors who have died to maintain this experiment alive. And now we have this beautiful instrument, direct vote democracy, encrypted by the blockchain, to be able to not only sound out the opinion of the American people, but to actually run our government. So I'm excited about the potential, the opportunities that come from danger, which is the meaning of the word crisis. I'm looking at my notes because these are my final notes for this third segment. I hope my battery doesn't run out on the camera here, but if it does, just catch me on another video. I wanted to tell you that, I have focused quite a bit on carbon drawdown to solving the global warming crisis within 2 to 3 years of implementation by our Congress. I believe that from my research and from talking to John Berger. I had the privilege to talk to him at his home in Oakland. What Congress could still achieve, first of all, of course, mandating that agriculture go organic, and that no jobs are lost, and that agribusiness retool to sell to the public and make trillions of dollars, by the way. The controls for insects, not insecticide, the controls for weeds, which has to do with the soil and fertilizing the soil properly. The helping people return to their land that had been confiscated by agribusiness because of their pollens going into the neighbors' fields. All of that can be mandated to be changed, and in fact, I hope that such a mandate would have our agribusiness go around the world to the land that they have destroyed and regenerate it. It's nice that the way they have set things up, everything dies off anyway, and so we can start over and regenerate the soil, and millions of farmers, small farmers, will be able to go back to their fields. And according to NPR, end the immigration crisis. This one mandate that bring nourishment to communities and stabilize communities and create millions of jobs. It's so beautiful. I'm going to touch on a few other things that communities and Conservation Corps and other organizations, schools, can participate in order to reverse global warming. One of them is to increase the albedo effect on the Earth. The albedo is the lightening of the Earth to approach a lighter color like white, to reflect the sun away. And that happens with shortwave radiation coming in from the sun that would be bounced right out before it ever turned into infrared heat, which is what will kill us before anything else if we continue the way we are. If communities could paint rooftops of Walmarts and Costco's and these huge buildings, and put some kind of a mixture into the paint of parking lots to make them lighter. There's research being done on how to lighten the ocean with a natural substance that would float on top and bounce the sun away. Clouds can be created. There's so many possibilities. One of them, which I researched a while back, but I haven't really heard anything about it. For some reason, it's just not being talked about, and that is that NASA did I suppose I should pronounce that in English, NASA, has done research and development into placing a shield in space at the L1 point, which is the orbiting point between the moon and the Earth, that will maintain a shield in the same area following the sun so that it casts a shadow on the Earth. Now, everyone knows that if there were something out there throwing a shadow on the Earth, you'd have a cone-like point that would just shade a small part of the Earth. And that's actually not what's going to be cooling the Earth down 2 degrees, according to NASA, if they ever got this thing up there. And it's a movable structure, so it could be moved in and out of the way to test the effect on the Earth. There's what actually shadows the entire Earth is called an umbral shadow, like umbrella, umbral shadow. Because if you imagine the sun behind me, the light, it's so huge compared to this little shield in space. The light on this side coming from the sun hits that shield and throws a shadow way over there on the left side, let's say in this demonstration. The light coming from the sun over here on the left side would throw a shadow across the Earth on the right side, completely covering the Earth with a shadow of just a small shield. I mean small, maybe a few kilometers in size, but movable. And my son thought, well, we could actually have a self-repairing structure with just one layer of molecule out there that could reflect the sun. There's so many possibilities there. The forests could be regenerated through holistic livestock management, which actually creates forests, and projects to provide fuel logs to people so they don't have to cut trees. Imagine most of the people, and 70% of the people of all Latin America, for example, only have seasonal jobs now and then. They don't have permanent work. And so they can't afford fuel like propane and the stoves and the tanks and all of that. So they just cut trees. So you have countries like Brazil where the Amazon is being cut down not only for Burger King and places like that for their cattle, which are not holistically managed, but also for firewood. The number one cause of deforestation in the world, according to the United Nations, is the gathering of firewood. And so you can see that these solutions are elegant, they're low cost, low risk, low tech. So just take, for example, the 26th mandate at the Great Mandate campaign of MoveOn.org, which is something that our nonprofit compiled beginning in 1969. I was at Kent State, and the death of 4 students just changed my life. I realized that we're not living in a democracy. My voice does not want to be heard, neither does yours. And it's been set up by the conservative faction of our government to operate that way on purpose. So the thing about the direct vote website is that we could, if the majority of people want a constitutional democracy, right away we can make the Federal Reserve Bank, we can transition that back to the U.S. Treasury, which we can control, because right now the Federal Reserve is controlled by a European Board of Directors primarily. It's a for-profit, absolutely unconstitutional to have a for-profit organization managing the money. Because we're a corporation, nobody seems to worry about it. You know, we've got the best government that money can buy. We could have, all of the issues that we have compiled on the Great Mandate. There's 33 of them. It's just a partial list. Are all what we believe to be the majority will of the people. To get rid of personhood for corporations, to get rid of the Electoral College, to end permanent war. My father was a Presbyterian minister, and he was also a conscientious objector during World War II. He believed that if we spent as much money on attacking Hitler, if we spent that much money on trying to prevent the war, we could have done it. He even says, all it would take would be a little sugar in their tanks. So we could demand, and the shuttering of over 800 military bases in the world. That's one of the reasons why we're the 3rd most hated nation in the world, is our control over the entire globe. So all of that is possible now. We can do it with a direct vote website and blockchain security. It would save maybe billions of dollars over our present voting system. So let's keep in mind that what is behind this madness is the adoration of Trump to power and becoming like Putin. He admires, strong men, like I'm forgetting his name, the head of the Romanian government. So we let's see. We can